Hi, I'm Megan Cook and I'm the Director of Garden to Table Permaculture. For the last 13 years we've been living here on this property in Pacific Palms, and one of our most annoying weeds, shall we say, is nutgrass. So nutgrass is a perennial grass. I'm just going to show you that now. And it grows really well, particularly in our climate here, which is a subtropical climate. So as you can see, it comes up on a single stem. You can see there, one single stem, which is a grass-like plant, and grows really well when you put mulch on top of it. So for around 8 years we've been trying to eradicate nutgrass from this property, and we've tried all sorts of organic methods. One of them was obviously just to dig them out. It is possible to dig them out, however you'll see how just from pulling it out there it's snapped the root off. So this plant actually propagates through a small nut or a bulb, which is found underneath and attached to the root. So generally one single plant can produce up to 300 nuts within a short space of time. So what happens is we actually bought in a bag of horse manure from over the road. $4 a bag, what a bargain. But then we put it down in a bed, as we always practice organic gardening and permaculture, and unfortunately we didn't compost that manure at a high temperature, and in that bag of manure, that's how this nutgrass came onto our 8-acre property where we practice permaculture. So as I said, over the years we tried all sorts of organic solutions. We had woofers on our property. We'd spend hours and hours weeding, getting out every single nut, trying to eradicate this weed. You can see it's just gets in and it's absolutely everywhere. That didn't work, because basically if you miss one nut or one small part of a root, which is quite easy, it'll just proliferate and come up from anything. So we also got a pig for a couple of years, George, our little permaculture pig, and he'd love to, dig up the gardens, eat all the nuts, but obviously pigs, they love eating, more than just nuts, and that probably wasn't the best solution, but it was fun to try for a while. So we also, we mulched, newspaper and mulched, but the more we mulched it, the more prolific it would grow. So in permaculture we always try small and slow solutions. As you can see, we've been building this house here, a rammed earth house, for about the last 10 or 12 years. So yeah, we're all into small and slow solutions. The food forest we planted here, again, that's about 7 or 8 years old. It's now very prolific and producing lots of fruit. Olives, bananas, guavas. But anyway, back to the nutgrass. We were spending a lot of time and energy on trying to eradicate nutgrass so we could once again return these beds to productive vegetable gardens. So on one of my garden tours, I met a lady from Queensland who told me the story that she'd had nutgrass growing on her property, and they tried everything, once again, all the organic solutions. However, she wasn't able to eradicate it. She even told me at one point they put a bit of bitumen down on the driveway and the nutgrass actually grew through the bitumen. So she told me about a chemical called Sempera. So in my
desperation and as an absolute last resort, after 7 to 8 years of hand weeding, spending hours and hours pulling out weeds, which, you know, for some people they say that you can actually eat the nut, but if you're not trying to grow, you know, it's a little bit hard to feed nutgrass to your family. It's not very practical here in Australia. So after I bit the bullet and I decided to get some Sempra. So probably about 6 weeks ago, it was a sunny day. This garden bed was absolutely full of nutgrass. You can now see, after one single spray with Sempra, and I did it very carefully to make sure that there was no spray drift, nothing. You can see here, this has been the result of spraying the Sempra. You can see the actual top of the nutgrass has actually died away. This is the result of what's left. You can see the single stem and the branching of the leaf. And you can see there are still some areas where the nutgrass did get knocked back. However, it still survived, so I will have to do a follow-up spray. But in general, as I said, this whole bed was full of it. And now I would say probably 80% of the nutgrass has died away. This here isn't nutgrass, that's just another annual grass. But you can see wherever there are the brown patches, that's where the nutgrass was, and it's now dead. So I guess it's about small and slow solutions. If you ever have nutgrass invade your garden, my advice would be get onto it as soon as possible. Don't wait, don't let it spread, keep it under control. And then once it is under control in an area like this, you can then go along and put down your newspaper over the top. We put down a very thick amount of newspaper, some wet newspaper. You can see it on the edge of this garden bed here. And on top we put at least 2 inches of wood chip. And then basically the native plants or whatever edible plants that you may have. You know, it's a very low maintenance way to use your garden. You can see a bit of comfrey here, which is a great plant in a permaculture sense. Great for chop and dropping, but we'll talk about that on the next video. So look, I just really wanted to share this tip with you. I'm not for spraying chemicals. However, as an absolute last resort, and as I said, after 7 years of trying organically, I found that Sempra, S-E-M-P-E-R-A, was the best solution for this problem. Okay, that's all for today. If you'd like more information, you can visit our website www.gardentotable.com.au. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.